What's your why with philanthropy? What's your why behind the work that you do in philanthropy and what keeps you showing up day to day?
I think about this a lot, and not all days are equal. But
That's
this is
right.
not right. Not all days feel the same. But I think what has so I was involved in philanthropy since I was 13. Actually, I was in a local my local community foundation had a youth grant making committee, and I was a part of it. And at that time, I'll tell you what felt really good about it was that we helped make grants. We helped recommend grants to community projects. But at that time, the way we were structured, we were also volunteering in the community. We were everywhere. Like I look back and I'm like, wow, I don't do anything now compared to what I was doing in high school. Like with just super engaged in what was happening I grew up in Southfield. And so we were all over Southfield. Like our youth group, we were all teens at the time. Like we were advocating for a teen center for years, which happened much after we were out of high school and out of the community. But it happened eventually. There were so many things that we worked for. And so that was at a very young age. And I was also then involved. So this was all, I think this was interesting when I like reflect on my pet. There were a lot of places where I was a youth representative in adult spaces. And so I was on my local Parks and Recreation board. I was a part of the local community foundation board as the youth member, youth trustee, whatever. And so for me, it was always figuring out how do you communicate your agenda, whatever, to an audience very different from you.
Mm.
Speak up and represent your interests, your community, your people in a space that only you are sitting in. That I feel like I was always aware of that. Like I'm the only kid that gets to be here. I'm one of two kids that gets kids, right? Young people that get to be in a room. So what do I do with that? And so I feel like it all for me started there. And also to be clear, I have immense privilege to work in the field of philanthropy. I don't take that lightly at all. I am in spaces constantly where a lot of money moves a lot. I've been a part of that for a long time. So I take that very seriously. But I guess for me, so like the why it started then, 13, I don't know, 20 some years ago, of just knowing that there is a way to support and impact community by both providing funding, resources are a thing, but also supporting all the things around that. Like we're making a grant somewhere, but also can we go volunteer there? Also, can we get those young people from that group to come to our things? Can we go learn about what they're doing? Can we also go talk to the mayor about this thing? So like it was all of those pieces. And I think to be honest, I don't know if I'm fearless anymore. Like
Mm.
maybe places in my life I am bold. You should have seen me then because
Hey.
and I think that's also the unique identity of being a student, a 13-year-old, 15-year-old, whatever. And then even up to grad school, like there is some stuff you can get away with for being in that. So I remember as a young person, like it felt like normal that I was just going to go walk up to the mayor's office and say, hey, can we talk about this? And then okay, we're gonna go talk to the Parks and Rec about how they do this activity. Like, we were just so embedded, and what's really cool is that I'm still connected to a lot of those, peers, adults to me then, but I'm still in there.
That's
We're
great.
still connected. It's really cool to see that, but again, along the way, it was people in my corner, in my ear saying, "If you make this choice, this might happen. If you do that," and so I think that has always helped me, but the why continues to be for me, there is so much work to be done in our world. There are so many disparities to eliminate. There is so much need. And it's difficult, I think, to acknowledge that I too am a part of a system that's perpetuated a lot of horrible things. And I work in a system, I work in the institution that as a collective has created harm. Again, we're back to this whole there is harm created, but I'm trying to acknowledge it and reduce it moving forward. So I
That's
think to
right.
me, I think that I am good at learning systems. I think I am good at paying attention to what levers to pull. And so for me, the why continues. And for as long as I feel this is for as long as I think I can sustain this work, that I get very clear on which levers to pull to do the work. Who do I have to convince of what along the way? And that it can happen. I feel like having been in the field for so long, having been a part of this movement for so long, there is more to be done. And so long as I feel that there is more to be done, then the why will remain because I have a lot to learn still. And I will always have a lot to learn. But I do think there are things that I have experiences that I've had over my career that make me feel like, okay, I can help figure out why about something. I can figure out how. I can help build relationships here. So I think, yeah, a very long-winded answer for me to tell you my why, but it
No, you were doing just fine, and one of the things that I was thinking, because there's also another theory of change too that's undergirding this whole thing too, is as people are sharing about their own experiences, how they got to where they are, what their motivations are, those sorts of things, and their thoughts about the work and even learning journeys that they're on. As you're sharing there, you're literally, and I said before, like, you're leaving some lessons, but you're literally dropping lessons and clues that I'm hoping over the collection of these things, I'll be able to say, okay, here are these is ongoing, but like all these conversations we've had, within it, there's some common themes that people are mentioning around aspects that'll help them be successful. The microwave and the curtain thing was a big part of that. But then also, what I got from what you were saying earlier, one of the stories you were telling earlier was around the importance of having folks in your network, in your corner, that have different levels of perspective or vantage points. Cause it's like, all right, you're organizing the thing with the students, making race heard. We're doing that. But then you had somebody like Mike, who was a little bit more embedded in the system at that time and can say, I love how you phrase that. Here's what you might
yeah.
not know is happening, which is very important context for organizing. Like somebody there who can tell us, okay, from where I'm sitting, all these other things are happening that I'm going to let you know because you need to be aware of these things so that they can then inform your strategy, your decision making. It's no, I no, you are right on track. Just being who you are and
Yeah.
just sharing. Like you're dropping those gems that people can pick up and are like, oh yeah, these are the kinds of things that I need in my life, even. And then who are those people that are already there for me? As folks are listening, thinking about their own experiences, and these are some of the tools that we need to succeed in this hard, very hard work. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, something I will say to that too about the people in terms of network, something I've learned too is surrounding myself with people who don't always tell me yes,
Mm.
that are pushing me right now. I feel like I'm in a place in my life. I'm thinking a lot about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I continually, I think, socialize different ideas that I have or strategies or even less formally just, hey, this is on my mind right now. And I have people, professional connections, friendships, people that I've known for a long called you randomly to be
Yeah.
like, "Hey, doing
Yeah.
this, what do you think?" Along the way, there have been some of my best conversations and best salient moments in my mind are when people told me, "I don't think you're going to get what you're trying to get doing it the way you're doing it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I don't think for that outcome, you're on the right path." Or maybe that's not even the outcome you're what do you actually really wanna do? So I think that's also a bit I have been sitting in a lot of discomfort for a long time,
Yeah.
and it really it doesn't feel great, but it's also growth and it's important and I'm learning and growing right now, but I feel very thankful to have people in my life in all walks of my life, in all ages and backgrounds and perspectives to yes, will always cheer me on for sure. Will always have a lot of love and support for me, but will also very clearly tell me that is not what you should be doing to get to where you're trying to go or
Mhm.
to produce a certain outcome. You need to change this up. You didn't even who did you write this for? That's not the right audience. So I think that's been also challenging, but
Yes.
also very necessary.
And being in philanthropy and nonprofit and consulting and just thinking about the spaces I've been in and what you're describing is reminding me I've been hearing some language around thinking about who's your personal board of directors thing. Who are
Right.
the folks in your life you can go to and get the kind of feedback that you're talking about. So I really appreciate you sharing that too, because it's important that we get that we are in relationships with folks who will give us that honesty